Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Grow and Get It. I'm Tom Ahles, president of Growth. Today, I get the honor and privilege to have my man, Lamont Harris, broker owner of Harris Capital Mortgage. Besides being an amazing gentleman, he's also just a great dresser, has a good taste in clothes, especially since I saw him at our last event and we were twinning. Got to give a shout out to my man Lamont for his wardrobe activity, as that was beautiful. But Lamont, thanks for being here, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Tom. I appreciate it. Always good to get together with you, and I appreciate the opportunity today. Thank you.
Always, man. I think I've listened to your broker to broker podcast. I've listened to a lot of the stuff that you do. Is you're always, I don't know, you're impactful, right? I think you're passionate about it. I've never heard an excuse come out of your mouth since the day I've met you, right? No matter what it is, just an executor, right? I think when it comes to our businesses, with how we, are originating, growing a brand, growing the broker channel, anything we do, and you're involved in other stuff too. That was kind of the neat
Yeah,
part of listening to you. You're an entrepreneur, right? And being an entrepreneur is obviously what I think is one of the key characteristics to being a good mortgage broker. So no question why you're having good success in the mortgage industry. But I had a couple questions I wanted to hit you with today.
sure.
Why is, for you actively impacting your local community? I know you're very active.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's important for brokers?
For brokers specifically, I think it's important because when you look at a mortgage brokers, most of us we're licensed in multiple states, right? But being licensed in multiple states for anybody could seem overwhelming. And so I think, what we got to focus on, obviously, being licensed in multiple states, all of us share one thing in common, and that is that we all have a home state, right? It's
Yes,
real
sir.
tough to impact your state if you can't impact your community. So I think what we do is we focus on community first, and then community actually will help us be able to identify the needs of our people, right? And so that'll help us in turn with the entire state if we can first have that initial impact on our immediate community. I think that's huge.
I love it. So let me ask you this: someone that is, you hire a new broker.
Yeah,
You're in multiple states. You hire someone in, we'll say Minnesota, because I know you're not in Minnesota. Um,
yeah.
and they have you as a mentor. And how do they, or what action item can our brokers take to start getting involved in their community?
Yeah, I think the immediate single action would be look for opportunity to serve, right? Obviously, as we get licensed, right, we license up these new folks, then they come on in the business. Everybody is looking for opportunity to make money, right? I
Yes.
really feel like the money always will come to you, but I think servitude is something that really, you know, there's this saying, right? You hear older folks talk about it a lot, and then one of the things they talk about is, in this day and age, there's no compassion, right? There's no compassion. There's no love. People are really different.
Yeah.
I like to think that people really do have love still in their heart, and I really feel that what you find is I find that when you serve folks, I find that people actually show gratitude through service, right? And I think in that gratitude, what you end up learning about people is that, what, that love that we thought people were lacking, it really still there, right? But really
Yes.
what it is people care when you care, but they
Yeah.
know when you don't.
It's kind of the old eye for an eye statement, right? Everybody's
Absolutely.
going to be blind if you don't show gratitude um, to others or other things, or you're that type of person that has that characteristics, and it's really tough to expect to see anything different in others. So very, very good point. So for you,
Yeah.
you've been very impactful, obviously, in your local community. What would you say is your personal favorite or most, you know, your most influential, I would say not powerful, influential? What is the most important thing that you've done to impact your community?
I think probably for me, if there's a favorite part of what I do in the community when it comes to service, it's kind of a twofold, right? I love to educate, right? So if it's work related, it's related to education. If it's
Yes.
if it's something that really hits true and is a passion, it's going to be serving our youth, right? Nevada as a whole has a real problem with homeless youth. in
Yeah.
this state,
Yep.
specifically in Clark County schools, which is in the Las Vegas district. Clark County schools has 14,000 homeless
That's how
youth.
many?
14,000, right?
Wow.
And that's when you hear that, right? My heart pours out to these kids because I've got 3 kids of my own, right?
Mhm.
And the only thing I can think of is man, had it not been for the graces of God, right? And that could be us, right? That could totally be us. And how
100%.
many of
You
these
didn't have
kids
a
already
choice.
have their parents, right? And
Right.
so for me, man, I think opportunity to serve and be selfless is something that I really hold on to, and that's a mode that I operate in, right? And so I think with that's what's led to this passion of mine is just dude, like what can I do for somebody else, right? I think we're good and we're gonna be good. Let me go find somebody else that's not good and try to see if I can impact, because that's the greatest opportunity. The greatest opportunity for me that I could leave is impacting someone else.
So doing so, like this is kind of
Mhm.
where, like for me, this is why I absolutely love doing these, because I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to like understand it myself on what would be like. Give me an example of something. If I wanted to impact my community and get involved with something, right? I
Mhm.
wanted to make a difference in showing up and doing something, right?
Yeah.
What would that thing? What is that? How? I mean, give
Well,
me an
I
example of
think I
something
think a
that
good
would.
starting point would be like, what is something that you're passionate about? Like if there's something like in community, if you just think of your community as a whole, right? So in your community, you got parks, you got churches, you got different organizations, right? You got police officers, firefighters. You have all these opportunities where you have these people that for a living they serve us, right?
Yes.
You got
Yeah.
hospitals,
Absolutely.
right? So you look at all of this and you say, hey, we've got people in service, right? Because that's what they are.
Yeah.
They're men and women that serve. Well,
Yep.
we start with something that we're passionate about, and then we go look for ways to serve that community. That community, in turn, Tom turns around and says, you know what? Tom didn't have to do that. Like he comes in and day out, week in and week out. He's serving us. Tom, what did you say you did again? You own a mortgage company, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What can we do for you, Tom? And I'm not saying that we serve to be served, but we
No, it's
serve we
the
serve
rule
because
101, givers
a
gain,
hundred
right? I
percent,
mean,
dude. 100%. There's nothing better than the gratitude of seeing someone that you've served and seeing how they receive that, right?
yeah,
That to me is priceless.
I love it. You're so spot on. I mean, with really any sort of network you're in, even besides just even serving people from that aspect that serve us, even every community, that tends to be how it works. Show up, be of service, have gratitude, and you will be taken care of. Let's just put it that way,
For
right?
sure. Absolutely.
So really
Absolutely.
strong. Lamont, I appreciate you. I know our community does. I appreciate you showing others what it looks like to work hard, to not make excuses, to be impactful, and to help our community in general. So thank you for being here for another episode of AIME's Grow and Get It. Lamont Harris in Nevada, owner of Harris Capital. You have any questions for him, reach out to Lamont, or even better, show up at one of our events. Lamont's there. I think, so I got to see him at UWM Live here last week. I know I'll see him again at Fuse this year. Um, if you're looking for more tips or ideas, we host this video every week, Monday noon Eastern, in the Brokers Are Better Facebook group. And if you want to catch out some older ones, go onto our YouTube page at AIM National. Lots of good tips. We try to keep it quick and impactful. I would say if I had to give a definition of this meeting, Lamont, quick and impactful, buddy. I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks again, Tom.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.